Yo, what's up, everybody? Rage Cage 20. Well, I'm sorry, we just call it Cage now. Sorry, old habits. That hard, you know how it goes. Last Epoch season 2 dropping soon, dropping in about a week here, and I felt like showing, like I've been doing the last 2 seasons, showing the build that I plan on playing this season. Now, I didn't think I was going to be playing this season. First, I want to talk about a few things last Epoch related. So I did. Oh, I watched about a third so far because it's like 2 hours long. I'm working on it, but the try interview with some of the developers and whatnot, which I feel like he asked a lot of the important questions. Because he said he played like 150 hours, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact number, but it was somewhere around there. And I was just like, I played like 650 hours. And for me, the problem is always the same. The end game, fucking boring as fuck. Like, not the first few times you do it, you know what I mean? But like, it's always the same thing. Like, if you look at the last video I think I did of the last season, I think I even titled it "The Same Old Boring Grind." Because which I was super glad one of the developers said it themselves. Like, yeah, we had a pinnacle boss, but that didn't really like change anything. And I was like, that's exactly what I was saying. Like, I was just like, yes, someone else thought the same as me. I'm so glad that they're thinking in that way. It's just like, yeah, pinnacle boss was cool and all, but like, that literally did nothing to the end game. It's still just maps, boss maps. It's just endless grind. It was just like, it felt like you had to get through a brick wall of just doing I still wish that they would fix this, because I don't. I feel like they should just have kind of like a flat. I don't know how they would balance this, but I don't feel like you should have normal monoliths and then empowered monoliths, because it's like you're pushing through normal monoliths to beat bosses that aren't going to drop anything for you anyways. You might get an upgrade or two, so it feels like you're just trying to bash down a brick wall with your fists, and then when you finally get through the 7 or so bosses, because you can skip like 2 or 3, then it's like, cool, do it all over again, but it takes longer, and yeah, it's the same thing. It's just like, and then once you're done with that, then maybe you can target farms and gear. It's like, it's fucking boring. So I'm really hoping that, as confident as they are, that like, no, we've found a way to really customize the end game, and it's actually you actually get to do stuff, and it's actually fun and whatnot. I really hope they're right. I guess that's all I could say. So I'm giving them one more shot. And if I get to a point where I'm just like, gosh, it's the same. It's like, yes, it feels like, yeah, there's some difference with the woven stuff, blah 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 blah, but it feels like you're just customizing your maps so that you can just do more maps. And like, the underground stuff sounds cool, but it's like, yeah, it's in the middle of your maps and stuff. So it's like, so now maps take longer. Okay. I don't know if that's gonna be fun or not, because if I'm still trying to push fucking timeline stability, and now the maps are taking longer because I'm also doing the underground shit, so I'm just stuck in that loop longer, that doesn't sound fun. But I'm hoping with some of their ideas of legendary potential and stuff like that, maybe with this Atlas tree, they call it a woven tree. We all know what it is. We all know where they got that idea. Maybe there's some juicy stuff in there that's like, okay, no, this does feel like I'm progressing stuff, and like stuff is actually happening, and then there's enough stuff going on. I do love all the quality of life stuff they did. Don't get me wrong. I do love that. Do love the thought of that. It's just, I'm just afraid it's gonna be the same old boring thing, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm fucking done with this game. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm also really not excited for the timeline, or not timeline, the another faction leveling thing, because I don't know if any of you have done this, you're fucking troopers, but in not a single season, even when I got even in the release, when I got my Falconer to level 100, or at least I think it was 100, it was up the last like 3 levels of the 90s, then like 97, 98, 99. I still didn't even get close to maxing it out. Like, I feel like I spent 100 hours on a character and I'm like level 7 out of 10 in the fucking tree. Like, so when they're like, we got another faction system for you to level up, it's like, please no. Please no. It's just fucking brutal, man. So I'm hoping that doesn't take as long as all the other ones. And maybe they brought down the experience needed for all the other ones. Would be awesome, but I severely doubt it. So I'm not looking forward to that, but we'll see what happens, eh? With that being said, I'm the build I'm going to be going for. I'm going to be playing a, what's her base level called? Acolyte. I'm going to be playing Acolyte because we've in the last 2 seasons we did the Rogue with the Falconer, and then we did the Primalist with the, was it a Beastmaster? Yeah, it was a Beastmaster because we had the Raptor and the Sabertooth and whatnot. With the bleeding slam AoE kind of build, which was pretty satisfying, was pretty fun, especially when you got the attack speed up there. It was pretty ridiculous. So we're not doing the Rogue because, I mean, I know that's probably what a lot of people are jumping out the gate on, but like, I feel like no one's talking about it, so let's talk about it. Like, obviously, because it's not Diablo and it's less Epoch, the skill's probably going to be better and feel better and everything, but like, are we going to pretend that it's not like literally the same name and does the same thing, roughly, as the Heartseeker ability in Diablo 4? Like, I don't feel like anyone's talking about the fact that they just ripped that ability. Didn't even change the name or what it does. They just totally took that ability and it was like, oh my god, I gotta play that. It's like, that ability wasn't really that exciting in Diablo 4. It doesn't even look that exciting in this one, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Although the new stat they added onto it, where it has the chance to keep re-hitting and stuff like that. With some of the passives and stuff I've heard about it, actually does sound pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. But like, just I don't know, like almost a moral principality kind of thing. It's just like, I didn't want to play it in D4. I don't want to play it right now. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of where I'm at, anyways. So I probably won't be jumping on that train anytime soon. Maybe in the future, but not now. So this build will hopefully be faster than it. Build guide, me showing you what I'm going to be doing through the build and whatnot. I'll hopefully go faster than the other ones, just because it's more straightforward than the other ones. The other ones were like, you stack this to combo this with combo this, and then you get a bunch of buff, and then you spam this and whatnot. This is pretty much just, you just cast these buttons and it does what the buttons do. So hopefully it won't take us very long to get through there. So let's bring it on down here. So we're going to be playing a Lich. We're going to be playing a DoT build because I was inspired to think about constructing this build from I remember when I played the back in when Diablo 3 came out, and the Witch Doctor, one of the first builds that I did on Witch Doctor was a full DoT build because I really loved that. And League of Legends, back when that's what Swain was before they changed him, and I miss old Swain, if I'm gonna be honest with you. But it was pretty much just DoT damage, and that's really for me, that kind of play can be a lot of fun. So yeah, we're going for a DoT build. Now I assume Warlock would probably be most people's go-to when you think about DoT build, but I liked some of the passives from the Lich tree, and also just the thought of having a bunch of increased leech from the damage I do. Just my dots are just constantly taking health on me. Kind of sounds exciting, not gonna lie. Now I don't know if leech requires a hit, in which case dots don't work, But I haven't seen it say that anywhere, but we'll find out together, won't we? So yeah. So, like always, we'll start with passives, go to the skills. Just an overview here. We'll be doing Hungry Soul, Spirit Plague, Infernal, Shade, Aura of Decay, and Drain Life. All DoT abilities, but let's first jump through the passives. Then we'll do the equipment and the idols. Now, obviously, the idols, the equipment, everything is going to be subject to change based off what other affixes they might be adding in, and the fact that you can boost your idols. That also didn't look super exciting because it was like I again watching the interview, it's like added stats onto it. It's like 3% endurance, 7% damage over time. It's like the tier 1 on one of these gives like 40% damage over time. And you telling me like the tier 2, 2, 3 extra ability is like 7%? That doesn't sound exciting. But hey, you know, if it's a idol I have that doesn't have damage over time on it, getting a little extra damage over time doesn't sound too horrible. You know, even if it's only like a small 10%. That doesn't sound horrendous. But hopefully the idols obviously are subject to change. Hopefully there's some like game changing, like holy shit, that totally changes my entire character kind of stats that you can get on the idols, but I seriously doubt it for what I've just seen today. But you never know, maybe they're just showing the light stuff and the big stuff is like coming, you know, you never know. Anyways, passives, starting the Acolyte tree. Just wanted to Blood Aura because increased damage and whatnot. Besides DoT, obviously Ward is going to be a huge thing just because of the way Hungry Souls work, so I'm working on Ward on kill and stuff like that. Yes, they're kind of nerfing Ward and stuff and trying to balance health and all that good stuff. But, you know, just some extra Ward to take a hit or two for you. Why not? So going heavy into the intelligence and the necrotic res because just free resistances, why not? 10% chance on killing an enemy because my dots are going to be spreading, so they should be killing a bunch of stuff, and so that should be 10 should be rolled many times to get 80 ward on a kill. Chance to poison nearby enemies on kill, 40%. That's going to play into our DoT damage because we're going necrotic, fire, and poison. Of course, extra poison res, which will also help us when we have the plague aura or whatever it's called, I forget the name, Aura of Decay on us, so that will help with that as well. Dipping a little bit into Warlock tree, increase damage over time and health, why not? Increase fire damage, increase necrotic damage, again that's going to stack on those that we're doing. Ward decay threshold, ward gain on kill, kind of stacking that a little bit, so guaranteed ward on kill plus per 3 intelligence additional 2 ward on that, which we have like 40 intelligence, so you know, like additional like 16, 20-ish ward on kill on top of the 10% chance procs. I'm getting a little bit of, you know, not crazy. And 30% poison chance to gain that poison overload. When you cast damage over time skill and enemies within 50 meters have a combined 25 or more stacks of poison, you gain poison overload for 12 seconds and cast Defiling Nova, which expands outwards, poisoning enemies on hit. Now, if we went into Warlock, we could obviously go into the necrotic one and the fire one. This is the necrotic for the damned overload and the flame whip with ignite overload. We could obviously go into that, which would work off of that. But I wanted to do something a little different and a little unique, but we're still coming in here to get, of course, some more damage over time, but also the poison overload, so we can at least get one of those to proc. Now going to Lich, health, and health leech, which we have 1% here. Okay, I just want to make sure, yeah, 1% here. So again, with that, that's 5%, and then at the end here we have another 5% plus the 25% just leech increase in general, which brings us, I believe, the stats said to about 12 to 13% of our damage will be leeching health to us, which sounds like a lot of fun. Plus 40 health, increase in necrotic damage, damage over time, poison damage, poison duration, physical, necrotic, and poison pen. We will only be benefiting from 2 of those. Damage over time on a recent kill within 4 seconds, 100% increased damage over time. Spell necrotic damage, more damage over time. Just a lot of damage over time here in the Lich zone. I think there's more than the Warlock, but I don't remember, and I don't want to go check. 50% increased spell damage, and increased damage over time, and of course the Leech that we showed earlier. So that's pretty much what we're focused on. We're going to get a fuckload of damage over time. So I imagine our skill rotation is going to be a little weird, because once we hit a certain threshold of damage over time, I'm sure one ability is just going to spread to everything and kill anyways. So we probably won't be able to put all of our dots on something to the maybe mid to late game, or kind of like more closer to the late game than the mid game. We will probably only be able to put all the dots on a boss and nothing else, but we might only use like 2 or 3 abilities instead of a whole like 5 kit. Who knows? We'll see. The skills themselves, with our main, pretty much the one that we just hold on someone and do a lot of dot damage, is going to be Drain Life. That is going to be our big starter one here. It heals you a big portion of the damage over time, which of course is being increased by all of our leech that we get from our passive tree. I guess we go this way first. Just increase the damage of life drain. Soul Blast on a kill whenever target is killed by Drain Life, which might be hard since we have a lot of dot damage going on, but our dot damage from Drain Life might be stronger than the other dot damage, so it might happen more often than not. I do not know, but we'll find out together. But whenever your target is killed by Drain Life, cast Soul Blast at the location, dealing spell necrotic damage to enemies in an area around it. So it's a nice AoE with our dots. And that damage is increased, both the damage and the size, by 80%. Going over here, make the channel cost less because we're making it cost more. So now we have, instead of costing 16% more, we have it just costing 14% less just in general, because it's 23 mana per second, and as you may have noticed here, we don't got a lot of mana. So that mixed with things like that, I think I might have some more somewhere, but I'm not 100% positive. Make it so we can actually, most of our spells are low cost, but Drain Life is going to be pretty hard to sustain. So any help we can get in there would be good. Dam stacks on the target if we're I think that's mixed with, I would mix with Contempt. Yeah. So if we're channeling on target, they're going to get dam stacks, which makes them take damage over time from that. And every 2 seconds that we're channeling on an enemy, which again, this will probably only occur on a boss, we are gaining stacks of Contempt, max 5. So that means if we stand there and just channel on a boss for 10 seconds, we have 50% increased armor and 50% all res, which is pretty nice. You can put all your dots on a boss and just stand there and try to face tank all their shit, in theory, with all your drain and with all this defense stacking. See how well it goes. Increase health leech and increase damage versus low health targets, and increase leech as well. So that's 16%, about 46% of the damage leeched is returned back to health. And again, that is increased by the fact that we're a lich. So like, yeah, it's a lot of damage from Drain Life gets healed back to us, which will also help us face tank things. So as long as we don't get one shot, probably won't die while we're draining, which we'll see how that goes. Hungering Souls, of course, ability cast out. These souls, they infect stuff, they possess something, it does damage over time to them, and only one can be targeted by a soul at once. More damage over time. Right, against possessed enemies, right? Chance for extra projectile, chance for 6 extra projectiles, and just 4 extra projectiles in general. So it sends out 5, I believe, right? 5, yes. Fires out 5. With that, fires out 9 minimum, and a 40% chance to send out 15. So pretty nice there. You can hit a bunch of enemies at once. You'll love to see it. Necrotic damage on the hit itself. Has 15% kill threshold, so if they get below that health threshold, it'll instantly kill them. I think it's different for, well, no, that usually works on bosses too. It's just harder to get bosses down to that level. Reduce mana cost, because again, we don't got a lot of mana. We don't want this to cost a lot of mana, especially since we increased the cost there. We want to decrease the cost. So that is negated out, and so it's 3 less, so it's only casting like 8 mana to cast, which is nice. Ward on kill chance. Ward amount's only 30, not a lot, but you know, it's stacking with everything else. Cone width, and then just 100% damage over time on it in general, which is going to combo nicely with how much damage over time percentage we have in general. Spirit Plague, you put it on a target, it jumps to other targets when that target dies, just like Malefic Visions and League of Legends, Malzahar. Now, of course, we're going into it to make it so that it will just spread to a bunch of enemies after a few seconds, and of course, if we put it on an enemy and then we cast it again on that enemy, we'll just auto force it to spread to the enemies around it, which is nice. It makes this makes so you can get on everybody, so not just trying to cast and then hope it jumps around between the enemies dying, because a lot of times if the enemies are dying, that probably means all of them are dying at once, so it doesn't really get a jump. So this kind of helps it so you can spread it to enemies around you. More murderation, less mana cost. It also inflicts poison on them, which is good because we want to generate a bunch of poison stacks so we can explode poison around us. And a 5% chance to summon a poison wisp when it kills an enemy. Excuse me. Lasts for 15 seconds and just poisons nearby enemies. Don't know if it's good. I don't know if it does any real damage, but we're gonna find the fuck out. Increase cast speed, decrease duration also helps. Just make it last longer on the enemies so we have more time for it to spread and to recast it and whatnot. You gain increased global damage over time when you afflict an enemy with Spirit Plague. This effect lasts 4 seconds, stacks up to 13 times. That's a lot. That's like, if you can get the stacks up there, that's over 100% increased damage over time. Not just for the ability itself, but for all of your dot damage, which is really nice. It also now inflicts Plague, which is a very strong poison dot that I think counts. It does poison damage, but it counts as its own ailment. It spreads between enemies, but it does not stack, but it does a lot of damage. 100% poison pen with Plague, and then as well as the damage over time, we're also stacking up poison damage in general. So very good, especially on a boss. It's going to make them very susceptible to our other dot damage. Then Infernal Shade, put it on the target, does fire AoE around that target, to that target and around that target. There's ways that you can put this like on minions and stuff like that. I think there's also a way to turn it into a different ailment as well, but I can't remember. Yeah, physical and stuff like that. So we're speccing into the chance for it to reattach to a different target if that target dies, because normally you put it on a target, does AoE damage. Once that one target dies, just goes away. Well, this gives it a chance to jump to another target if there's still other targets around, and if there's not, with this one here, it will drop to the ground, sit there for 10 seconds. If anything else comes near it, it will attach to them, to help us not have to keep spam casting it on packs, which can be very frustrating. Now we have ways to just cast it once and we can forget about it and focus on our other 2 dot abilities that we need to cast. So very nice. Increased duration, which also helps with that. We can also cast 3, I believe, because I think 4. We can cast 5. Yeah, we can cast 5 of them. Chances are I'll probably never cast more than 2, because I don't think I'm going to be fighting any pack size that's big enough that I need more than 2 to deal with it. But the option is there. Increased area, because why not? Which also makes it harder to believe that I'm going to need to cast more than 1 or 2 of them. Has like 9 chance per second, just extra dot damage, why not? Mana efficiency and cast speed make it cost less mana, because again we do not have a good mana pool. Chance for a Blaze Shade, which deals more damage in a significantly larger area, only 20% chance, but if it hits, echo damage. More damage, increased area, again, also why I don't think we need to cast a lot, and then we already read the other 2. So yep, more dot damage, aura of decay. You have an aura around you that poisons everything, including yourself. Um, and yep, just stacks poison on them and does good stuff like that. Also leaves a trail behind you that if they follow you, so you can walk away and they can follow in your stink trail and get poisoned as well. Now, while the aura is active, you take 50% less poison damage, so I don't know if that's the equivalency of getting 50% poison res, or if it's better or worse than that. I do not know. I don't know the math. I'm not that good at ARPGs to know that information. But that stick with her, that on top of our poison res is nice. The ailment frequency to enemies is faster, makes it easier for us to stack up those 25 stacks so we can explode on them, and even more frequency, but it also increases the frequency on ourselves per second, so that really starts to stack up. It makes it kind of hard to keep it up on you, but like the poison stacking and everything else is ridiculously strong and they drop like flies, so it's kind of worth it. Now, two things to try to help with this. Now we have additional 20% less poison damage taken, so 70% less poison damage taken while it's on us, plus our poison resistances, which I assume those stack. Assume it's like, maybe they don't, I don't know. Again, I'm not an ARPG mathematician, I don't know how it works, but also it heals us for a percentage of our missing health, so that plus our damage leech that we're healing ourselves constantly with, plus the insane amount of leech that just Drain Life does in general. My hope is, obviously I'll turn it off if there's no packs around me, but my hope is, like in a boss fight or just fighting like a bunch of mobs continuously and whatnot, like if you're in an arena, that I could just leave it on and not have to worry about ever turning it off because of all my leech, plus the healing missing health per second, and just the massive amount of damage reduction. Now, of course, there comes a point with this Icarian poison that it just will be too much for me to deal with. I'll be just adding way too much poison onto me that I will have to turn it off, but I'm hoping to make that a super long duration before I have to worry about that. So we'll see. It also has every 5 seconds. Well, once it activates, it has a 5-second cooldown, so technically, I'd say every between 5 to 10 seconds, there's a chance that I will send out a poison nova, which again will help poison everything around me, to also do another poison type nova from our passives, which is nice. Also reduces the cooldown to 3 seconds, so I would actually say now every probably 3 to 6, 3 to 7 seconds, there should be a poison nova happening. So that's really nice, and it shreds enemies' poison resistance. Which also, if we get plague on them, that'll also do that a little bit too. Well, for plague. So, I mean, technically not, but I like to think that it does. So there we go. So that's generally the build. It's generally what we're going for. Again, once we start seeing the damage numbers, once we go through equipment and idols, and there's nothing really special with blessings, but I'll show you them. Like the chances that we're gonna be running around with Aura of Decay. There we go. I was like Poison Nova. I want to call it Poison Nova every time. I don't know why. Running around with that, and then like maybe putting shade and like casting, like Infernal Shade on someone. They're casting Hungering Souls will probably be enough to clear mobs at some point. So I probably won't need to worry about these Drain Life and Sphere Plague most of the time, unless it's on a boss or one of the new like mini boss enemies that they got coming out and whatnot. I probably won't be able to cast most of them, but just thinking about all these dots stacked on them at once, just kind of like bleeding their health dry, sounds fun, and I hope it's as enjoyable as it sounds to me. Alright, moving on, we'll just tackle blessings real quick, because I think there's literally only one. The rest of them are super standard, either crit avoidance or resistances. Super standard, super straightforward. This one's experience, but it could be anything really. Ward gain or kill, ward decay threshold. That's the only special thing about blessings. I think they need to really touch up and switch blessings, but you know, it's easier to say to do. So idols, we'll start with idols, then we'll go to the equipment. Idols, again, subject to change. Who knows what kind of crazy combinations are going to come out, what kind of crazy stuff that we can do and put together and all that, what have you. But as it stands right now, before we know any of that, increased damage over time, ward gain or kill, chance for Hungry Souls to fire 6 additional projectiles, which I don't know if that stacks on top of the one that we have, so I don't know if it's, what was that, 40 or 60%, whatever one that was, so I don't know if it's just on top of that, or if it's like on top of that, meaning like, what I say, we could fire up to like 14, 15, and that means like 21, I don't know how it works. Either way, if it's just the 15, which I think was the number, then at least there's a higher chance of that happening every time we cast it, so I'll take that. And of course, ward on kill, ward retention, damage over time, necrotic damage, damage over time poison, damage over time necrotic, and then these two are just a repeat of the ones up here. So just a bunch of damage over time, ward, pretty straightforward. This build is like literally give me ward just for things melting around me and proliferating from one to the other, and just dot damage. That's about it. That's the whole secret. I feel like I was flashing, but maybe it's just my hands moving. I'm watching you. All right, equipment again. This is also just change because with the with the chance of putting maybe set affixes and stuff on here. Maybe there's some good stuff or not. Who knows? Maybe there's different affixes that they haven't introduced yet because they felt like they were hinting at that, but I do not know. So all this again is subject to change, but this is the general gist of what we're going for. And whenever I go through equipment, I don't bother doing uniques and stuff like that because I've never gotten to the point where I've made a legendary item in this game. So I'm really, really, really hoping that all that changes this season because I just haven't been able to get myself to really grind and slog through the end game to want to be willing to do that. So I'm hoping that this season changes all of that. I also looked through and there doesn't seem to be like a lot of uniques that specifically help out this kind of playstyle. So it would just be additional stats that we can maybe slam these tiers on anyways. So starting the headpiece, armor, ward decay, threshold, and ward gain on kill. Again, probably won't be a lot. Ward will probably run off really quickly, but hey, if I can absorb 2, 3, 4, 5 hits for free, I'll take it. Why not? Of course, the chance for ward on kill with Hungering Souls, 2 to level Hungering Souls, and increased spell damage, crit avoidance, increased health, cast speed, just because I don't think there's any other good options, if I remember correctly in here. Not seeing any. Damage over time taken. If I needed the resistances, then sure. Not really good. So just cast speed, why not? Damage over time. Of course, with all my builds, if you watched any of the other ones, it's just I don't ever expect it to get a tier 7 of what exactly I'm looking for. But as long as it's tier 5, tier 6, I'd be happy. But if I do get a tier 7, that's kind of the one that I'm looking for. That I think would be nice to have. Spell damage, health, physical res. They did say that they're trying to make it so you don't have to build health on fucking everything. So hopefully I might be able to switch some of these stats around. But who knows if they will be successful in that and what that means. But cross fingers. Spell damage, mana. Any mana we can get helps. Less mana cast for spells, which is going to be nice. I think this brings, if you get 5, I think this will bring down the cost for, I think it was Hungry Souls, to 3, 4 per cast. So good. Damage over time, mana spend gain as ward. Very nice. Necrotic pin, poison pin. Those are going to be 2 of our main damage over time sources. Since we have necrotic poison, necrotic. So only 1 fire, so I'm not really worried about fire pin, but I don't know if I have fire pin hidden here somewhere that I don't remember, but not sure. Ward decay threshold, ward gain and kill, poison damage, poison res, which will help. Necrotic damage, health, ward per second, intelligence, ward per second, ward retention. I did not pick a second suffix because I don't think any of them was useful at all to me. Yeah, looking at it again, I don't think any of it's useful at all to me. So it's like if I need a resistance at the time, just throw resistance in there. Otherwise, literally none of this does anything for me whatsoever. So probably whatever random resistance I might need at the time. Or just seal and get another prefix. And just ignore the fucking suffix if it's not there, or just take whatever fucking suffix they give me. Again, yep, damage over time, spell damage, ward per second, etc., etc., etc. Damage over time, spell damage. You see the pattern. Health, void res, elemental res on the implicit there. Poison, cold. I mean, the Spider Silk Sash is one of the greatest belts in the fucking game. Like, just the ability to almost have 50% poison and cold res is just ridiculous compared to all the other belts. Like, the ones that don't give resistance, I think one has physical, maybe? Or no, mana, armor, ward decay. Yeah, it's just like they need to get their other belts on point. Because, like, literally, like, the go-to choice just in general. Necrotic damage, poison damage, health, or hybrid health and health. Necrotic res, ward decay threshold, increased damage over time, spell damage, health, cold res. Void res, increased damage over time, intelligence to kind of help stack with the ward gain from that one passive point. Hybrid health, movement speed, intelligence, again for the combo, hybrid health and health, more ward decay threshold, good stuff. Looks like no fire pin. Okay, good. Necrotic damage, damage over time, damage while channeling, which will be drain life as technically a channel if I remember correctly. Yep, channel cost, yep. It does count as channel. Health and endurance. Because I guess there was probably no other stat that I really cared about. So said fucking endurance. And yeah, so that is about it for the build. Pretty much just it's as I mentioned, it's just straightforward, just dot damage over time, stack the fuck out of it, and watch the screen just you put one down, it's like jumps to all of them and just melts the fucking screen. That is the hope. That is the plan. A little bit low on health. Hopefully that won't matter a whole lot with all the ward generation. It's like not bad health, but I think you want to kind of aim closer to 4,000 to 5,000 health generally. But again, they're trying to work on not needing that as bad, so let's hope they're successful in that. Either way, with all the ward, even with the nerfs to ward, you saw how much with the decay threshold over time and just getting ward from killing a bunch of shit, which hopefully I can kill stuff from not even being close to it, so I'm not even taking hits. Will hopefully keep my ward. My hope would be anywhere between 1,000, maybe around 1,000 ward. I'd take 1,000 ward. That would take a few hits, you know what I mean? So I don't know if we'll get there, but like, hey, his resistance is obviously armor, not mitigating much. Not really worried about any of that. Offense, the dot damage. We're looking at for fire, necrotic, and poison, which we're going to be doing. Fire a little bit low, but we only have one of those. Necrotic about 1,500, poison about 1,300. So 1,300% increase. It's a lot of dot damage. So at a certain point, I just should cast like 1 or 2 spells and stuff should just melt. Until we get to bosses. Now, I don't think there's anything else. Endurance, about half cap. It's base is 20 or something. Endurance threshold, that's alright, Crit avoidance at max, we have a good chance of getting 100%. Just really depends on what we get here and what we get on the blessing. So I'm not really worried about that. Ward retention 234%. I mean that sounds good. Ward decay threshold almost 700 and 89 ward per second. With killing stuff, we should be able to get at least to 1,000, 1,500 ward or something. I don't know, it's all like that should take some hits. And I don't think there's any other calculations that are important. So here's my hope, and that by far is like the fastest I think I've ever done one of these videos. Because again, it's just not very combo-y like all the other ones have been, to where like, oh, this stacks with this, that stacks with this, and that stacks with this, and they're just melting because of that. It's just put dots on them, watch them die. It's just that's the hope. The most complicated part of this is put all your dots on them, and then with drain life, if you're draining life on the same target for 10 seconds, you should be able to face tank all the shit with all your leech. That's the hope. That's absolutely the hope. Though if at max I have 426 armor, I'd only get me like 30% armor mitigation. So all the resistances, those will go up to a fuckload. How we overcapped the hell. So shouldn't take much elemental damage. But yeah, my hopes for this, like I have always wanted, it's always been my dream to get completely geared out on something. Like, you know, I never was much of a raider in World of Warcraft, but when you saw those people standing around Stormwind or Orgrimmar or something, then you just look at their gear and it's just fully decked out purple, maybe even some like orange legendaries and shit, and they're just like, they got all the enchants and like all this fucking dripped out, and you're just like, oh, I want to feel that power. Now, my roommate got there when with classic Cataclysm, and he said it kind of feels empty afterwards. But you do feel like a bit of a badass because it's just like, I did all this, now what? So I'm sure I might feel the same. I just kind of want to test my power. Be Uber Aberoth, like all legendaried out, like literally the strongest that my build can be. Like, I want to get to that point. I didn't even kill Aberoth in the last one. I killed like, I think one Harbinger boss. It was just like, I'm fucking bored, and dipped. So I'm really hoping that like I want to do the dungeons. I want to slam legendaries. I want to create legendaries. I want to be like all legendaried out and beat fucking Uber Aberoth. Get all my idols fucking that lime green color. I want to be fucking dripping. And I've tried to do this so many times, and it's just very possible that just ARPGs aren't for me. I mean, they are and aren't. Like, again, I've sunk 650 hours in here. 650 hours. Like, that's a lot of hours. No, obviously it's not the thousands that a lot of people pump into ARPGs, and I get that. So it's like, it is for me and it isn't, because like I love it. In theory, the end game is just a little too monotonous for me. But I tried to do it with D4, not this last season, but the season before that. But I just felt like I was like spending all day and getting very little progress. Like my progress, like a few item level and like one or two things. It's just like, I feel like I'm doing nothing and getting nothing. Last season, the last Epoch, I was just like, why am I doing this? I literally feel nothing. So I'm really hoping I can at least beat Aberoth, get a few legendaries. If I could get legendaried out, I'd be so happy. But who knows? It sounds like it's more likely this time. So I would be super happy with that. So that's the goal this season. Hopefully they don't do a bullshit ass. Everyone asked for over 50% of people asked for this mid-season wipe. Bullshit. That was also another reason why I'm like, well, there's no point. There's no point in trying to just come wipe my character. Yeah, I'm really hoping that we can do it. So that's the build. Hope you enjoyed. I feel like I'm one of the few people that's just like, I just hope it's good, because I feel like everyone's like sucking their dick, kissing their ass, getting their tongue up in that booty hole, just all, just like, oh, it's gonna be so good, it's gonna be so good, it's gonna be so good. But it's just like, do y'all forget how boring that end game loop is? Like, it's pretty fucking boring. And they're not really saying that they're fixing it. They're just saying like, we're aware of it, and like, we're hoping that this works. It's like, you know, I hope to. I'm hoping to. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of excited for it, but also I don't want to get my hopes up. So, we'll see. I gotta run through the fucking campaign for my, like, I'm trying to find a number that's not exaggerating because it's more than 20. I got like over 1,000 levels of characters because I just try a new build and get to level 50. So I've gone through the campaign over 20 times. So yeah, it's be like my what 24th, 25th time going through the campaign. So can't wait to suffer through that again because you can't skip it. Which also would be super nice. I don't know. I know there's a debate between that because they say like it trivializes it, but like I don't know. I'm tired of going through it for the 25th fucking time. I know there's ways to skip it, but not on the first season. You probably ain't gonna get lucky and get a key at the point when you could use it, you know. So, like, yeah, the number 25, baby. Let's go. And that's only the times I've completed. I've probably ran through at least half of it, like 30, 35, 40 fucking times. Anyways, thank you for joining me, everybody. I'm excited to play and record it and whatnot for y'all, you happy folk out there, and I'll see you all later. See you next time.